All right. I got the game actually playing in the back over here. NFL Network's re-showing the game, so we're recording it right now. And so I think that was the turnover that's going to lead to the touchdown right before halftime. Sean's trying to get in. Oh, there he is. All right. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Under the Dome. Funny thing is, Bob and I were just talking about the game right before it came on, right before we came on, and it it's something. It's something to do what they did to Tom Brady for the third time in the regular season. You know, I'm looking at every excuse in the world coming out too. Hey, we beat him when it counted. That. Maybe being on the latest is Tom Brady was on Payton and Eli's show, so that's why it's like a Madden jinx. You play badly the next week once you're on the Payton and Eli's show. Skip Bayless had all his list of excuses, and didn't want to hear any of it. Shannon Sharp didn't want to hear any of it, so it was funny. Welcome. I'm your host, Alan Ulrich, here with Sean Williams, right below me, Bob Rose to the right of me. I'm telling you, I was so keyed up Sunday night. I had a hard time going to sleep just because I couldn't believe how they won this game.
Yep.
I enjoyed this game more than any other game so far this season. And it's not just because we won and the defense played extremely well and stuff. It's just you go into a game like that, and I'm like going, Tampa's just, they got a better offense than we do. They're going to want to show that they are the kingpins of this division. They're going to want to knock the Saints down. They've been talking smack, and then we lose Jameis. So I'm like, oh God, because there's no Taysom Hill. So, it's going to be Trevor Siemian, and, Siemian's a journeyman at best. So
that was a hell of a journey though.
Yeah. You have no expectations, and to see a game like that with the highs and lows of that game, it was just incredible. Then PJ Williams having a Tracy Porter moment, breaking on that ball to seal a win after I was cursing Sean Payton out for doing what he did on first and goal on the 9-yard line with 3 straight passes, burning a grand total of 16 seconds and leaving Tom Brady with like a minute and a half and a timeout. Need a field goal to win. I'm like, you're going to waste all this effort with that. So, it drove me crazy. Bob, how were you after this game was over with?
And I actually rewatched it right afterward. I usually rewatch a game the next day, to go over my play chart and everything like that and take closer looks at specific positions. But I rewatched it immediately afterward. And I was like you, I could not sleep. I think I finally fell asleep at like 3:30 in the morning, and woke back up at 5:30 or 6. This is one of the most intense Saints regular season games that I can remember in quite some time. And that's a statement because this team plays a lot of there's so many ebbs and flows. And we knew that it was going to be intense on both sides. We knew that the players on both teams have legitimate dislike for each other. I mean, forget the fan rivalry. These players legitimately dislike each other. And that intensity was already at red line, and it just went through the roof when Jameis Winston went down. The team, the offense, the defense, the just general emotions along the sideline, they just all picked up for each other. And most importantly, they didn't let their emotions get out of hand. They stayed very focused, very true to their game plan, and very poised down the stretch, even when Tampa Bay made the run on them that you knew that they were going to do.
Yeah. The person who I thought lost his poise the most was probably Devin White. He really, and then of course Leonard Fournette, which I'm telling you, someone needs to mic up Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
What in the hell does he say to these players? He's got to do research, like on with their families, with their Instagram accounts, something. Because if you just tell somebody, your mama's so fat Thanos had to snap twice to make her disappear, that's not going to do much for them. But if you say something like, I slapped you around like I slapped your wife when she's wearing that blue dress, that kind of thing. And then now you're going to say something, or wait, you and your wife you got that baby. He got the worst of you. You got your wife's gorilla face and your gorilla body. That kind of shit. I mean, that's got to be what he's saying. That kind of crap. So it's just, and it's quick. And man, and Fournette and Gardner-Johnson had to be separated at the end of the game. I mean, it's just, it's going to be a hell of a rematch. It really is.
Yeah.
So, Sean.
Yes, sir.
My question for you then tonight: who is your star of this game?
Trevor Siemian, without a doubt.
Why so?
Well, the point that you made about there being really, when he comes into the game, all level of expectations were basically gone. You're playing the defending Super Bowl champions with a third string quarterback, and he played very, very well.
He did. I was impressed with this I mean, Sean Payton said he was going to be aggressive in this game, and the first two plays that Simeon's in, he has him throwing passes. They're playing aggressive. He didn't like back off and say, okay, I don't have Winston anymore. I'm going to call a more conservative game plan. We're going to run Ingram a little more. We're going to run more Kamara. No, he's got him throwing that ball all over the field. And that was incredible. I mean, and the offense didn't really lose that crispness, that you would expect a drop off. And it's a struggling offense to begin with, but Winston came out focused and made some key runs to get that first touchdown drive. Beautiful pass for that touchdown. And then Siemian comes in right behind him. The offense doesn't skip a beat. And I guarantee you, Tampa didn't dial back the blitzes. They were coming at him hard. That's why Winston had running lanes. So, I agree. Bob, who would be your star of the game?
I gave it to the and I cheated. As you guys know, I do a game ball piece every time the Saints win. And my game balls went very simply to the New Orleans coaching staff, the New Orleans offense, and the New Orleans defense. That's just how impressed I was at this team victory. Ideally, though, you have to give it. If you are forced to give one game ball, I'd give it to Dennis Allen. With a close second being Sean Payton. Because like you just said, Sean and Alan, they stayed true to their game plan, which is an ultimate credit to Siemian for being able to run it efficiently, coming cold off the bench. But Sean Payton stuck exactly with what he wanted to do offensively. But Dennis Allen, anytime you play Tom Brady, and in the last 3 regular season meetings, you have 7 interceptions, a fumble recovery, 8 sacks, and 23 quarterback hits, along with your defense scoring 2 times while only giving up 6 touchdowns. That's a reflection of obviously the talent on the field, and all the credit in the world to them. But these defensive coaches, Dennis Allen and his staff, they just mixed up coverages. They were aggressive coming at Tom Brady early, and then they mixed coverages in the second half. Couple coverage breakdowns obviously got Tampa back into the game. But Mike Evans, once again, was reduced to an absolute non-factor. He had that 1 catch for a touchdown, and other than that, he had 1 reception for 7 yards and 5 other targets. Yeah. So, I mean, the stars all over the board defensively. And then offensively, you have unsung heroes coming up huge. Adam Troutman was an amazing blocker all night long. Ingram, did what Ingram does, like he didn't miss a beat. And then guys like Kevin White and Ty Montgomery making plays on third downs or deep plays down the field, along with an offensive line. A bang-up day for them. Probably their best outing of the year, pass protection-wise. And I was just that thoroughly impressed by the New Orleans Saints as a team. But if I had to give one game ball 1 star, it would be for Dennis Allen.
How about Mark Ingram coming in this game? And the first 2 plays he runs a great screen pass. And then he runs for like 7 yards and really pumps up the crowd. I mean, it's like he was never gone.
Yep.
It really was. I really was happy, first off, that he came back to the team. And of course, he came back, I think after we were on the air. I don't remember if we talked about him or not. We said it was a possibility, but I don't think we talked about him. But yeah, he came back to the team, really practiced 1 or 2 days, and really it was more of a walkthrough than anything else. And then you insert him in this game. And it's just like old home week. It's just like an old shoe. You just come right back and doing what you did. I thought that the offensive line played extremely well. Marcus Davenport and David Onyemata both were wrecking balls in there. I mean, stat-wise, you look at it, you're like, they didn't do very much stat-wise. But if you look at this game and you watch Davenport, he is manhandling the guys he's got, and they're sliding protection over to take care of him because he's coming this close to getting to Brady. And same with Onyemata. He's getting that push up the middle, which for Brady, that's the one thing he doesn't like because he can deal with pressure coming off the edge all day. He just kind of takes that 1 or 2 step up and makes his throw. But when it comes in his face, that's when he has a problem. He has nowhere to go. He's not a mobile quarterback. So, yeah, it was – and Demario Davis, what can you say about him? It hasn't already been said. I mean, the man's an animal. I can't – to this day, I can't believe the Jets let him walk in free agency.
That's so Jets-like, though.
I was just going to say, thank God they are the Jets.
Right. I mean, and you look at the stats and you say, okay, Godwin had a big game. Someone's going to have a big game. There's too many weapons you have to account for that someone's going, and they found their matchup. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on Godwin was the matchup they wanted. And when we would slide people around and put Roby in or put a Debo in, just move people around, they'd move Godwin around. So, it's just moves constantly. So he got his yards. But even though Brady threw 4 touchdown passes, except for that series where the Saints went 3 and out twice and the Bucs scored 14 points to make it 21-23, you really never got that feeling that this defense is in trouble. They can't stop them. That at least for me. I don't know about you guys. That's how I felt the whole time. I'm like, we're going to get a stop. We're going to get a turnover. There's something going to happen. Yeah,
absolutely.
One of the things that, Sean, this is a question for you. One of the things that I read, Gronk had to check himself out of the game. One of the things that I read over the in the post-game stuff is that Brady – Dennis Allen is kind of like his kryptonite, okay? And that Brady can dominate everybody, but he has trouble with Dennis Allen. What do you think Dennis Allen does to him that other teams just have not been able to do?
Scheme.
Yeah.
How so? What do you think? What do you see in the scheme that gets him, that gets Brady that you don't see other teams do?
Well, for one thing, the fact that you brought up about getting in Brady's face, and scheming for that to happen. You've got all of your defensive backs in the right place at the right time, and preparation.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Bob, same question for you. You said I saw you nodding at scheme. What do you think specifically that he does that? Because other teams, they have to see this and know that, okay, we got to get in Brady's face. we got to make him hold the ball, but we also have to make him feel pressure. Why do you think the Saints are so successful with it, whereas other teams, they may be okay for 1 or 2 games, but the Saints have done this for 3 games and forced, 7 turnovers? 7 interceptions, I'm sorry, 8 turnovers. They forced a fumble when Cam Jordan threw that tackle into Brady. What do you think it is?
It's and they had the same kind of success on a slightly lesser scale when Brady on a couple meetings when Brady was still in New England too. Like Sean says, it's all about scheme. Dennis Allen likes to pressure from inside out. So many teams like to just focus on we're just going to build up our edge rush and build up our edge rush. And while the Saints have done that very well over the last 4 or 5 years, they've put just as big of importance on interior pressure. And if they can't get there with their defensive tackles, they'll bring a Demario Davis or a Quan Alexander or Alex Anzalone when he was here on a blitz. And then you couple that with the fact that Allen will continue to play an aggressive coverage scheme. I mean, he was even doing it with guys like B.W. Webb and when P.J. Williams was your starting boundary corner. That didn't stop him from playing man-to-man. And that's where I think the biggest difference is so many teams when they play Tom Brady, there's a huge fear factor involved with, oh, my God, it's Tom Brady. And it was the same way with Drew Brees. Oh, my God, it's Drew Brees. We can't let him beat us over the top. So they would give all the underneath stuff, and let a Brady or a Peyton Manning or a Drew Brees absolutely pick you apart. That's not going to happen with Dennis Allen because he wants his corners in your receiver spaces. And when you have corners at the talent level of a Lattimore, a Roby, and a Debo, Janoris, Jack Rabbit, before that, and Eli Apple before his confidence exploded, you're gonna have all kinds of success because now you're not giving up that short stuff. You have a couple linebackers to get to the edge to take away that little Brady dink and dump that he's famous for. And now you're bringing pressure right in his face, and you're forcing him to hold on to the ball for a minimum of 3 seconds. That's going to rattle him every single time.
I agree. I think one of the other things that should be mentioned is how much the Saints gang tackle. I mean, they swarm to the ball, and that's something that the Jim Moore defense and even Bum Phillips defenses, when they were good, were known for. This swarm to the ball, go get the ball carrier. It's rarely do now it happen, but rarely do you see, one guy misses a tackle and they give up a big play because of that. That's how they limit the explosive plays. They will let you catch the ball in front of them, and then they're going to attack and swarm and bring you down. And for the Saints defense, especially against Brady, it's important that they get ahead on the down and distance, that they make that first and second down, second and long, third and long, where it's not something where they can just run the football. And that was the other thing. For so long, this defense has prided itself in its ability to stop the run and make you one-dimensional. So,
the only 2 teams this season that have stopped Brady from being Brady, you look at the makeup of the team, was the Rams and the Saints. Both 2 very, very talented defensive backfields.
Yep.
Everybody else has allowed him to throw the ball deep on.
And physical defenses, fast physical defenses. I mean, defenses that really push you, get after that offensive line, shut down the running game, make you play their game. And with the Rams, they do a lot of greatest show on turf stuff where they're going to throw the ball and run up the score and make you play catch up. But their defense is coming after you. And I think that's the other thing is the Saints defense, like y'all said, the scheme is blitzing and attacking. You've got a lot of pressure you get put on the team. So,
and Bob made a very valid point a while ago. So I made the comment a few weeks ago. I'm so sick of watching these talented teams play Tom Brady and just lay down in front of him. And this team Sunday played with absolutely no fear.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't, and that's the difference. They're not afraid to play anybody. There's no team that they go in there and go, okay, how are we gonna handle this guy? They're like that. We're going after him. That's how we're gonna handle him. We're going after him. We're gonna put pressure on him. And if they get their plays, they get their plays, but they're not going to get many. So they got to make those plays count, and that's just their attitude. And when they don't play that way, I think that's when we as fans get frustrated with them, know. But for the most part, though, they do play that kind of attitude. Okay, so the trade deadline passed today at 3:00. Rumor has it they were really close to trying to sign or trade for OBJ. And the Browns didn't like the compensation or something about the deal. I personally think the Saints tried to get the Browns to eat that contract. Mm-hmm. We'll give you a high draft pick or higher draft pick than probably what he's worth. And in exchange, you have to eat that contract. And the Browns just didn't want to do that. And I saw Desean Jackson got released. So obviously the Saints aren't going to make any more moves, at least in a trade market, because the window's closed. Do you feel like this team is 5-2? They're technically in the driver's seat to win the division now because you won a game head-to-head. Tampa is a half a game ahead of you because they are having their bye this weekend. But we have a half game lead on them in the division.
Freeze ray.
I love the facial expression that he froze on.
Yeah. It's like Jerry Glanville.
I don't think you can ever freeze. No matter who it is, I don't think you can ever freeze on a aesthetically pleasing expression.
No, it's not possible.
Interested to see where Alan was going with this, but I'll ask you, Sean.
Okay.
Do you think that there was any merit to the Odell Beckham Jr. trade rumors? And if so, and you were shaking your head, so I already know the answer is, and that I feel the same way. Do you think that there was any validity to it, and do you think he would have been a good fit in this system?
I think it would have probably taken too long to integrate him into the system, which I feel the same way about the Desean Jackson rumors, the Phillip Rivers rumors. If we make a move like one of those, it does you absolutely no good for this season because, as you have pointed out several times, our offense is probably one of the most complicated in the league, and those guys don't know the system. So from here on out, you're basically looking at either Taysom Hill or Siemian, and probably bringing Book off of the practice squad and having him as a backup until Taysom gets back.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling people too. If the Saints were to have made a trade for a quarterback, the only one that would have made any sense whatsoever would have been Teddy Bridgewater out of Denver. And there was actually a little bit more merit to that than what people might believe. I'm not going to tell you, my sources because there was only a little bit of smoke and obviously no fire at the end of the day. But the Saints were indeed making calls around the league for receivers, but they showed legitimate interest in only two quarterbacks: Mitchell Trubisky, who Sean Payton has always liked, and obviously Teddy Bridgewater. And the reason why there was a little bit of merit to that is Denver's front office since 2015, they don't know what the hell they're doing anymore.
No.
The giving away of Von Miller, is perfect evidence to that. But that, as far as a quarterback goes, that would have made the only sense for the New Orleans Saints.
Yes.
Because he would have been almost an immediate plug and play, maybe sit out a week. But other than that, like you said, Sean, and like you and I have said both repeatedly, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Nick Foles, any of those guys, it would have taken too long at this point in the season for them to have any kind of impact on how the Saints finished 2021 at all. So at this point, they are going to roll with Siemian, Taysom Hill, and most definitely going to be promoting Ian Book to a game day number 2. Sean Payton still hasn't announced. In fact, don't expect an announcement until Thursday or Friday at the earliest. Sean still hasn't announced who Sunday's starter will be. I have a feeling it's going to be Siemian because Taysom still hasn't cleared concussion protocol, and he's already missed the last 2.5 games. And a concussion has kept him on the shelf for 3 weeks, if you count the bye. Expect the Saints to bring in some sort of veteran on their practice squad with a little bit of starting experience, a journeyman kind of guy, like Trevor Siemian, just in case they have to turn to him, God forbid, if another injury occurs. But other than that, this Saints roster is what it was going to be 24 hours ago and going forward. Period. And fans, don't tell us that the Saints don't have any interest in winning or didn't try to make any moves. Remember, I mean, they might not have been midnight deadline, trade deadline deals, but they traded for Bradley Roby, so you have your secondary depth, and you brought your beloved Mark Ingram back, so you gave a boost to not only your running back core but your entire offense. So don't tell me that the Saints haven't tried to make moves to better this team.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And how weird is it to see Mark Ingram wearing number 14?
It is weird. It is weird, but man, I other than the number change, like Alan said earlier, it was just like putting your foot back into that comfortable slipper that still has plenty, or shoe that still has plenty of tread left. Because Mark has some mileage on him. He's not a 25 carry per game guy anymore, but he is going to change your offense. He is going to give an emotional boost to your entire team.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the hell happened. I had to reboot my whole internet connection over there. So I don't know what went wrong there. Just boom, it's gone. So anyway,
did your background change again from just before the internet drop?
No, I got the same background. I'm in the kitchen this time because when I'm in that little office area, my wife says I talk over the TV, so she can't hear me. She can't hear the TV. So she's condemned me to the kitchen. So that's where I am right now, which is worse because I have these high arching ceilings, so my voice echoes all over the place. Oh, well.
Yeah, I have the same thing here.
Okay, so I missed most of the stuff we all were talking about, but I'm gonna try and catch up real quick because this comment here is what I was going to go into next. Anyway,
that's what we talked about.
Oh, y'all talked about that, but I figured
we did. Since you met, we'll ask you, Alan. Before we give you our rebuttals, who do you think is going to be the Saints quarterback? I think it's going to be 1 week at a time. So who do you think is going to be the Saints quarterback against Atlanta this Sunday?
It depends on if he comes out of concussion protocol. If he is out of concussion protocol, it'll be Taysom Hill. Mm-hmm. But if he can't practice or he is kind of slow practicing and they kind of have to take it slow, it'll be Siemian with Book activated, and Taysom will be – they'll have Taysom do his Taysom things, but he won't get many snaps at all. I think they're going to take it slow with him because he had this is now 3 weeks, him coming out of the concussion protocol. Some people were upset. They thought the Saints should make a move and bring somebody in or trade for somebody because they don't have experienced quarterback depth. Siemian, like we said, was a journeyman, played for the Broncos, played for the Jets. And then Book's a rookie, and Taysom, some people will say he's not a quarterback. The problem with the Saints offense is so complicated. The play calling is so long, and because it tells you the offensive line what to do, it tells the receivers what to do with the blocking schemes off of the backs. There's a lot to learn, and you can't just have it all on a flip card and go, okay, it's 7, because you've seen the Denny's menu that Sean's got. I mean, it takes a long time to master
the old
this.
Denny's menu, not the new one, the old one.
Yeah, right. Or she's like IHOP menu. It's it's crammed like that. Or if you're really old school, Shoney's Big Boy menu. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that if you bring a guy in, he's not going to be able to run this offense.
Yep.
We're in week 8. This is not week 4 or week 2. By the time he masters this offense, won't start calling plays. It's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
minimum.
So,
and even then, you're going to have to dumb down the play calling just to accommodate someone that does the offense.
Yeah, I knew somebody was going to bring that up. So here we go. There was a funny tweet, and I retweeted it Sunday night. Drew Brees sitting in that NBC studio like he's not coming in to start for us next weekend. They even asked him point blank. Said, if the phone rings, would you answer it? And he picked up his phone jokingly. He says, nope, no phone calls, nothing like that. He says, I'm planning on being here and calling the games and stuff like that. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, okay, I count at least 5, maybe 6 winnable games out of the remaining 10. Falcons twice. I'm counting that sweep. You got the Jets on this schedule. Carolina's sliding.
They're in free fall.
Yeah. There's no Derrick Henry for Tennessee. You got the Eagles game. So these are all winnable games. The hard games really are going to be Dallas and Buffalo, 2 games you play at home, and the rematch against Tampa in Tampa. Those are your most difficult games. Let's say, for the sake of argument, the Saints go on a winning streak going into December. All right, and they are now 9-2, maybe 10-2. We'll count the first week of December. But the offense is missing something. They're winning because defense is forcing turnovers, special teams plays. And Sean Payton says, you know what? I'm going to make the call. Would you want Drew back for that last month to make that run?
Bob.
Yeah, Bob. We'll
throw Bob under the bus first.
Yeah, we'll go with Bob.
Yes. I absolutely would. One thing that I noticed a severe decline in Drew Brees from 2018 on.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of 2018, by the end of that year, he just didn't have anything left in that arm. And then we saw a little bit, that was the year that they had the number 1 seed. So they had the first round bye. And then he came out and looked really strong against Philadelphia. And even the following week against the Rams, the arm strength was there. His timing was a bit off. So I don't think the tired arm theory holds much merit for that playoff run. When he came back from injury, Drew did, when he came back from his thumb injury in 2019, he looked really, really strong for 4 or 5 games there. But again, by the Minnesota playoff game, by the end of that season, he had nothing left. Last year, you can't really base off how he came off of that injury because he was never not injured. When he came back, punctured lung and broken ribs are just not something you recover from in a month. But based off of what I saw from him 2018, 2019, if I believe that Drew Brees can still give you high quality, well above average quality football for 3 to 4 weeks. So I think Sean Payton makes that call, not without clearing it with his quarterbacks first, because he is obviously a man with a plan. Hell, I think the call could come if the combination of Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian struggles the next 2 or 3 weeks too. You at least have to make the call. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Sean,
Yes.
same question for you. What do you think?
Well, as Bob pointed out, you would not have Drew Brees in December that had the previous 5 or 6 months wear and tear on him.
Mm-hmm.
For a short run, yes, I believe that could very well be a possibility, but it would not be a long-term fix.
No, and you're not really looking at a long-term fix. I don't know if he turned in his retirement papers. First off, I don't know if he actually turned those in. I mean, you announce your retirement, but you don't actually. Do you turn in your papers, and then can you come back once you do that? I don't know. I've seen, Jason Witten's obviously an example of somebody who retired.
Have to be sorry to interrupt. You have to be reinstated by the league. So the fate would be in Goodell's hands at that point, and oftentimes it takes a week to apply. Then you go through physical, blah blah blah.
Okay. Here's the thing for Drew. If I agree with you, I think they make that call. I think if Payton feels really good about this team, like we can make a run if we can get some stability in the quarterback position. Because Phillip Rivers said today that if the Saints called him, he would come in. Now Phillip Rivers, I think, is done. I'm not interested in Phillip Rivers. I mean, you saw him at the end of his time in San Diego or Los Angeles now, and a good bit with the Colts. Even he would go on these streaks of just like horrible passes, interceptions. For Drew, getting that second ring would be really, really tempting. But he'd have to feel like he's got a great chance of coming back and doing this.
Yeah. Okay.
And he had to feel like I could physically do this position. I think it'd be very tempting for him to go. Looking at his defense, and especially that's why I set this question up this way. You've won these games with your defense forcing turnovers, defensive scores, special teams plays. You look like your running game is really good right now. It looks like it's not going to be all on you. They just need somebody to kind of to make some plays for him and make that offense stable. I think that's when Drew would be like, yeah, I got one left in me. I got one or two left in me. I might take that call. I don't think right now at 5-2, Drew's interested in coming back. And I don't think he could come back, because I think you'd have the same issues. I think by the time let's just say they go on a 7-game winning streak, you get to the end of the season, you're now into the playoffs. Whether or not I think only the number 1 seed gets off. I don't think is it only the number 1 seed gets a week off again?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. So unless you're that number 1 seed, and right now it looks like the Rams are in the lead for that number 1 seed because they beat Tampa head-to-head.
It's still the Cardinals, because the Cardinals hold a tiebreaker over the Rams.
Yeah, that's right, because they only have 1 loss too.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so regardless, you're not in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed. Right. So you're going to have to play that wild card weekend. So it's 3 postseason games to get to the Super Bowl. That would be hard for Drew to do right now. Very hard. And he's not in football shape. I don't care how good a shape he's in. Right. He's not in football shape. So you're looking at about a month for him to get in Drew Brees' elite level football strength.
And listen, I saw a couple comments, and I apologize if I get the handle wrong, by Saints Uptown. They knew this was coming. Of course, it's coming because it's Drew Brees. If Phillip Rivers or Deshaun Watson were being discussed, then you have to bring up Drew Brees. Yeah, Saints Uptown. Then you have to bring up Drew Brees as at least a possibility. Not Helen, not Sean, and certainly not myself are saying that Drew should be the guy. I guarantee you the calls have already been made between Sean Payton and Drew Brees to at least feel out where Drew was if a just-in-case scenario happens. Otherwise, Saints Uptown, you mentioned that Taysom Hill would be the starting quarterback and that we have to accept it. No, not necessarily. You watch for the first injury report of the week tomorrow. If Taysom Hill is not back at practice, then I promise you, I will bet you a week's salary. I'll say it on the air right now, that if Taysom Hill does not practice tomorrow, then Trevor Siemian will be the quarterback for Sunday. And this is going to be a flowing thing. If Trevor plays well for now, if he plays well against Atlanta after coming off the bench and playing well against Tampa Bay, this isn't Drew Brees replacing Teddy Bridgewater or Taysom Hill. This is Sean electing whether to go with the hot hand or not. So while Taysom, Alan said it too, I agree that Taysom will ultimately probably end up taking the bulk of snaps behind center. It's no guarantee for this weekend, folks.
Well, I have a question for the two of y'all.
Okay.
I'll ask you first, Alan. There's naysayers that want to insinuate, I'll say that the reason that Siemian was able to enjoy the success that he did was because the Buccaneers weren't prepared for him. Do you say that holds any water?
No, because they did the same thing they did to Siemian, what they were going to do with Winston. The Bucs' defensive game plan was to blitz the hell out of Winston and make him throw those interceptions, make him throw those balls up for grab. That secondary was going to jump on those passes, and they were going to get 3 interceptions, score off those interceptions, and just blow the Saints out of the stadium. That's what their game plan was, as primitive and as basic as that. So when they saw Terrence Siemian come in, no, we're not playing Zydeco. When they saw Trevor Siemian come in, they said, "Oh, now we really got him. We're going to blitz the hell. This is a Jets quarterback. We're going to blitz this guy, and we're going to make him. He's not even as talented as Winston. We're going to make him make the mistakes." And it really surprised them that Siemian was able to find guys. And it surprised me, too, that offense had as much rhythm as it seemed to have during that game. That wasn't supposed to happen. And I think that's what surprised the Bucs, especially when you look at the Saints got that turnover, went up 16 because we missed the extra point, but went up 16-7. Then he takes that drive in the second half, goes down the field, scores another touchdown, make it 23-7. I think the Bucs are like, what the hell is going on around here? So, Bob, I mean, how do you see it?
Yeah, no, I see it exactly the way you guys described it. Now, it will be a little bit different, for the Atlanta Falcons, Tennessee Titans, Philadelphia Eagles, the next 3 opponents, if Siemian remains the quarterback, because now you can watch film on him individually. You can study his release. You can study his tendencies. But other than that, like all 3 of us said at the onset of the show, the Saints did not change their game plan one iota when Winston went down. And Siemian ran. As a result, Tampa Bay did not change their approach one iota. I guarantee you, because of the intensity, personal intensity between the two players on each side, Tampa Bay did not let up any either. They saw the ability to put the nail in the coffin when Trevor Siemian came into the game, and they could not do it. And it wasn't only the touchdown drive in the first half and to open the second half that were keys, but after the Saints offense hit that wall, Tampa Bay got back into the game, and then ultimately took the lead. Siemian responded by making I think he hit 4 third or fourth down conversion passes to move the Saints down. They only got a field goal out of it, but they were within the Tampa Bay 10-yard line. And a couple nicks here or there, they could have easily got into the end zone then too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was the part that really surprised me because, my brother just posted the turning point was when the refs undid the fumble, which I agree. I think that was a fumble. I don't disagree. I mean, I don't agree with the call that was a he didn't catch the pass and make a football move. I thought him heading towards the goal was a football move, and I promise you, had he broke the plane bobbling that ball the way he did, but still had enough of it, they would have said, "Oh no, it's a touchdown."
Absolutely.
So that's why I don't buy that either. But that was a turning point in this game because the Saints, if they would have recovered that fumble and then gone on at least to drive to maybe punt and put the Bucs back 80 yards to go ahead and try and drive the length of the field, there was going to be enough time for them to run the football. They were going to make Brady throw the ball on every down, even though it was about midway through the third quarter. But because the Bucs were able to convert that to a touchdown, then get the 3 and out, then get another touchdown, that momentum was clearly on their side. So, yeah, when it was 21-23, that all the good work that was done, that was really teetering on the balance, and that was a hell of a drive. That was a 12-play drive, if I remember right, for a field goal. So, yeah, that was a hell of a drive. And, yeah, some of it was helped out by penalties, but that's the Bucs were doing this to themselves. They were the ones playing undisciplined football. They're the ones that, hitting the quarterback in the head and pushing him down afterwards and shoving guys, just like Seattle was doing the week before. And this time they got called on it, so.
And I mean, every single tackle that Devin White made, either involved a face mask or a horse collar.
Yeah.
That's no lie. When I rewatched the game, there were 7 plays. If you count the Winston injury, there were 7 plays where he either horse collared or face masked and didn't call it. Folks, go back and rewatch the game and count them. I might even be low.
Go look at the play. Devin White tackles, I think it's Alvin Kamara, not in the white, but on the yellow dotted line where the players are supposed to stand behind. I mean, that's how far into the out of bounds. In the old days of the Superdome, and here, I'll change the screen right now because I'm just like that kind of person here. But if you go back to the 1970 stadium, look at that concrete. That is where Alvin Kamara would have ended up on the ground in that concrete area because he started tackling here and he's tackling bring down in this area right here. So yeah, I mean that's that's just that pissed me off. They didn't get that call.
Yep, and Alvin's legs folded up. Alvin's knees were folded up under him on that tackle too. Because he brought him down from behind. So I thought an underrated aspect of this game was how cleanly the Saints played in relationship to the Buccaneers. I mean, New Orleans got 6 first downs, but like you said out there, these weren't ticky-tack penalty calls that you could question one way or another. The Bucs I think had 11 or 12 total penalties. It could have been double that legitimately. And I'm not crying about the refs. I'm just, and the Saints made plays without them too. That field goal drive that gave them the lead late in the fourth quarter. Tampa Bay had 1 penalty, and the Saints would have converted a first down on it anyway.
Well, it's just it's ridiculous because and this is what we talked about earlier. When they reversed that fumble call, I immediately texted my family in our family text, and I texted Avery Perkins, who he and I talked during the game. And I said, that's a keep it close call because Saints get that turnover, they start marching. Even if they punt, that's less time for Tampa to score. It's 23-7. They can't have a score that big. They're not about to let another 38-3 kind of game happen. We got to give them a call. They're close enough to score, at least get a field goal. Let's keep it close. Make it 23-14. Now it's a 6-point ball game, or I'm sorry, 9-point ball game. It's close enough. So yeah, it was infuriating to me. All right. Last thing I want to talk about this game before we go on to the Atlanta game. It's first and goal on a 9-yard line. 2 minutes left in the game. A little bit over 2 minutes left in the game. You know, Tampa's got 2 timeouts left in their pocket. They use one of them right before the 2-minute warning. They get the 2-minute warning. Saints now have first and goal on the 9. I'm sorry. They didn't use that. They used that timeout earlier. So they got 2 timeouts just at 2 minutes. You're first and goal at the 9-yard line. What do you want to do? Sean Payton said, tell me the 3 plays you want me to run that's for the score, and it's going to run the clock down so Brady doesn't get the ball back. What would you run, Bob?
I don't have as big a problem with what Sean Payton called as what a lot of people do. They were safe passes.
Mm-hmm.
You did have the Buccaneers back on their heels. I would have liked better execution, from the routes that the receivers ran. But I saw the logic, and my logic would have been this standing on the sideline. I need to get into the end zone. I'm not going to be able to run the clock down far enough with Tampa Bay having 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning if I just run up the middle. So I have them on their heels. Maybe a pass or 2, would put them back on their heels. If I get into the end zone, then that forces Brady to score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. I believe it would have had to been a 2-point conversion. To beat me. If the balls go incomplete like they did, then Tampa has plenty of time to get in position for a field goal. But I have confidence that my defense can keep them out of the end zone. So if Tampa gets in position for a field goal, I might just have enough time left on the clock to drive back down and get a field goal on my own. That's why I didn't have a problem with the logic. That would have been my mindset on the sideline. I just would have liked to see better execution from the routes run.
Sean, how would you have handled those 3 plays?
I would have wanted to get the touchdown, obviously, but I would have chose a different way of going about it. I would have at least tried to run Kamara or Ingram off the edge.
I would have run, if I'm going to throw a pass, I'm probably going to go in first down, and I'm gonna get the fullback in there, and I'm running 3 tight ends. I've got the 3 tight ends stacked. I've got the power formation with Alvin Kamara. Okay. I want to get them all bunched in, and then I'm probably going to try and do a play action with tackle eligible, coming out, something like that. I might run a play like that, and because I love this play, and he did run it on one of the scores, remember right? Because it was a scary score, but he got it. The Washington Redskins play, I call it now, was the 2-point conversion play, where you get Trotman out blocking the corner. You run the pitch to Kamara, and Kamara scores by just, you have Trotman push the guy away from the pylon, and Kamara goes for the pylon and gets in. That's what happened in Washington. They ran that play, in fact, and they did score in this game. Kamara went really, really wide, and it was like 8 yards back before he took off and went to the end zone. But I like that play. I love sprint right option, the old 49ers play. And, Lance Moore made a living off of that play. That's how he got the 2-point conversion on the touchdown. So those are all pass plays that I like. But I have to try Ingram behind Ramczyk and Ruiz. I have to try him on the edge on that side. I know Shaq Barrett's there, but I have to like my numbers on that side with Kamara or Ingram on that side. I got to run that play at least once. I have to run at least one more running play to get them to burn both timeouts. Because in my head, I'm scared that Brady needs a field goal to win. If Brady needs a field goal to tie, I'm more likely to run three consecutive passes. I'm more scared of Brady needing a field goal to win. That's why I was pissed, because I'm like, he's going to run this clock all the way down. We're not going to be able to stop it. We're not going to have any time to come back. And yeah, that was tough. And you're right. This is when you need Taysom.
In that instance, actually, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a Taysom Hill play.
Yeah.
You know, one of those plays is a Taysom Hill play I'm running. Because I like Taysom, especially going against behind Ramczyk, you know, because I think Taysom's got enough power in his legs that even if you get on him, because I'm not running into the wall of Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh. I'm not running into that wall. You're not going to run up the middle on him. But I like them on the edge. You know, I'd even run behind Armstead. I thought Armstead and Throckmorton did a good job on that side. You know, so
actually, go back and watch. I don't know. I don't know how the snap counts broke down, but Hurst played a lot of the snaps in the second half at left guard, and I noticed that both Ingram and Kamara were having more rushing success off the left side than the right side, which is usually the flip the script. For the Saints rushing success, it's normally behind Ruiz and Ramczyk with McCoy pulling.
And I think Chad, you're probably right. It was about the Saints defense. Payton knows how far the defense gets, and wanted them to know that we trust you to win this game for us. You're going to shut the door on these guys, and of course they did. It's Tom Brady, and I have PTSD. So I mean. I have seen, and most recently it was the Rams playoff game, but I have seen way too many games where the Saints lose it despite a fantastic defensive effort because the defense gives up that one play. They can't get off the field on third down and give up that one play to win the game. And whether it's the Rams game, the 49ers game, even the Vikings in overtime in 2019, hell, I can go all the way back to 1978 and Big Ben with the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel every time the Saints. Like my wife, they were up by 9, and my wife's like, "The game's not over. Brady could still score twice before the game's." I'm like, "No, he can't. It's not enough time. They're not going to get this. This game is over now. Once PJ Williams got the ball, she's like, no, there's a way. The Saints will find a way to lose this game, So, yeah. So that's just how I feel about those things. So when he explained it, when Payton explained the post game, and I knew, and I got to give him credits. He stood up, and took it and said, hey, this is why I did what I did. Because his attitude was, doesn't matter how much time is left. Brady's going to do what he's going to do. So I want to be up by a score that I know Brady's not going to be able to overcome. And I know it's going to be tough to run against these guys. So if I want a touchdown, I'm going to get my touchdown and let him try and come back from 9. Not come back from, not 9. That would have been 30 to 20, 30 to 25. He would have needed a touchdown to win. He had to come back from 5 by 5. Or 30, 27. No.
Hold on.
What was the score? We made it 20. It was 26-27. We made it 29-27. So a touchdown would have made it. 33. I'm missing something here.
I am too.
We kicked the field goal to make it 26-27.
It would have been 33 if they just scored a touchdown, but just kicked an extra point. It would have been 33-27.
That's right. Okay. All right. That's it. I knew it was something like that. I know we won by 9. That was the thing. We won by 9. So, but regardless, it was that kind of thing where I'm doing the math in my head. And, okay, you need a touchdown to win, and you're not going to get a touchdown on us. You might get in field goal range, but you're not getting a touchdown.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, yeah, and Calvin's joining in. Yeah, Ingram came in like he never left. So let's look at the Atlanta game. Atlanta had a funny thing. The Falcoholic, and I encourage everyone to follow the Falcoholic on Twitter. He's funny. He really is. He has he he has a dark sense of humor about the Falcons. If you go to his page, he's got the pinned tweet says, being a Falcons fan is like being like riding a roller coaster with a terrible safety record. It's just and his entire thread is like his entire post that way. So he posted, what 3 things do the Falcons have to do to beat the Saints on Sunday? And one of the answers was kidnap Sean Payton. Keep him from going in the building. That kind of stuff. I mean, they know. So if the Saints, if I remember right, and I haven't done the math in a while, if we sweep the Falcons this year, we have tied the all-time series.
Yes.
We're only down by 2. So, and I've just jinxed us by saying this.
Yes.
But if we tie this series, that means they have nothing over us anymore, because they used to always say, when we'd say we won the Super Bowl, well, we still lead the all-time series because of what happened in the 80s and the 90s. That's really where they took the lead on it. Where they won 10 straight. From 95 to 2000, they won 10 straight against us. And yeah, from from 78 to 83, they won, or 82. I think they were. We only beat them twice in that time frame, because it's off. The series is off by a game. It's not an even number because they didn't play in 1982. They only played one time in 82, and we beat them in 82. Mm-hmm. And I think that happened again in 87. I think we only played them once in 87. I think that was the canceled game in 87 for the strike year.
Plus the 91 playoff game. If you look at
yes. Right, the 91 playoff game. So, yeah. So that's why the count is a little off like that. So, yeah. What do you guys think? Sean, we'll start with you. What do you think the Saints have to do to beat the Falcons on Sunday?
Show up.
That's it?
No. Actually, you're going to need the same type of effort that you saw Sunday.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to be solid on defense. You're gonna have to be functional on offense.
I think you have to win turnover battle too. I think Cam Jordan has to come back to be, he's playing his favorite quarterback. He sacked Matt Ryan more times than any other quarterback. In fact, I know he's over 100. Oh, he's at 100 sacks now. He is now second to Ricky Jackson. Ricky Jackson's got 128. You can't count his 10 from 81 because they weren't keeping tracks of sacks as an official statistic. But I think he's 28 behind Ricky Jackson now. To me, they have to win turnover battle. They have to get a lot of turnovers, and Cam Jordan just has to just do what he does to Matt Ryan and sack him often. Calvin Ridley's gone. He is taking a mental health thing, and the way his tweet read, he is stepping away from football entirely.
Yeah.
So this is not, I'm gonna be out for a few weeks while I regroup. He's just gone. So Cordell.
What is it with those Alabama receivers? The one in Vegas, got arrested.
Yeah, DWI, or DUI, but we're assuming it's alcohol. It could be weed, could be drugs. We don't know. They just said he looked staggered and like he was under the influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the Falcons have Cordell Patterson, and they've got their number 1 draft pick, Kyle Pitts. I like our matchup with those two. I think we're better than that. I think our secondary can handle those guys. Bob, what do you think is the key to beating the Falcons on Sunday?
First of all, offensively, you got to win your first and second downs. Where you give Siemian or Taysom Hill a manageable third down when you get into it. The Falcons are once again putrid defensively, but they're not bad against the pass. They rank 12th, but they give opposing passers have completed 69% of their throws against them. So that tells you that you can get underneath. The Falcons are just limiting plays downfield. Their rush defense though is awful. It's 24th, 125 a game, 4.4 per carry. That's the number to watch. That's where the Saints can win and should win by on first and second downs. And I'm not saying run the ball downhill at them exclusively. You're going to see. I want to see how creative Sean Payton can be with his run pass mix to keep Atlanta back on their heels. If you do that, you'll be able to move the ball and gain advantage, field position advantage. Because as much as we like to make fun of Matt Ryan, he puts up numbers against these Saints. He always has. Kyle Pitts is certainly a tight end to contend with, and that'll be an interesting matchup. But Hayden Hurst is their other tight end. He's as good as anybody in the league. And Russell Gage is a very, very good wideout. So the pieces are there, and you guys mentioned Cordell Patterson is their big play threat. The pieces are there for another explosive offensive output for Atlanta, but you need to get Matty Ice on the ground because, again, they can't protect him. He can't get out of the way anymore. I mean, he was never mobile to begin with, but now he's a literal statue. Atlanta can't run the ball again. So if you keep their running game down, that makes them one-dimensional. While you're beating the hell out of Atlanta's defense, you could beat the hell out of Matt Ryan. Right there is your recipe for victory. That's why, but that's been the recipe for Sean Payton all along. I think the Saints are 20-8 against the Falcons with him as head coach. The recipe has always been very simple, along with the turnover battle. The few games that Payton Saints have lost, I think they've lost the turnover battle in every single one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can remember I think it was 2012, Atlanta came in undefeated to the Superdome, and the Saints defense is terrible. We all know that's the Bounty Gate year and all that stuff. And the Saints came in and knocked them off. That was one of Mike Smith's better teams, and their big prize was Jackson, the Rams running back, Steve Jackson. I was thinking Desean. Steven Jackson, and the Saints shut him down, 4 times inside the 5-yard line. They shut him down. So, I mean, it is one of those games where you throw the records out, it's going to be chippy, just like what you saw with the Carolina game, just like what you saw with the Buccaneers game. Those games get chippy. They do a lot of pushing and shoving after the play. So the important thing is, just like last week, keep your composure, back up your teammates, but, stay after these guys and make them earn every yard they get. Don't give up nothing deep, nothing cheap, as I think if this defensive line plays the way it played last week, they should beat the hell out of Matt Ryan. My question for you two, and this was a question that Calvin asked, does Ingram break the rushing record this week? Can he get close to 100 yards this week? Because I know he got a little bit. He didn't get not enough to make it like 70 or 60 yards, but can he get the rushing record this week?
I hope he does.
I would like it too. It's going to be in the dome in front of the fans. That's the big thing. You're not playing in Atlanta; you're playing in the Superdome. So it gets just a little bit crazier out there. And does Cam Jordan extend his single quarterback sack record? Oh yeah. I'm going to say I'm not going to predict the score this week. I'm going to predict that Cam Jordan gets at least 4 sacks in this game, because there's something about Matt Ryan that brings that out of Cam Jordan. He may only get 1 sack in a regular game, but when he's playing Matt Ryan, he just gets multiple sacks. They've sacked him 8 times in a game, 9 times in a game. So I think Jordan gets his 4 sacks in this game. Yeah, he may only need 63 yards. That's probably about right. I don't remember how many yards he got last week or this past week.
He got 27 last week.
27?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be right. 63.
Yeah.
Because he needs to get 64 yards to break the record. So I think Payton gives it to him. I think Payton gives it to him a lot in this game because they are terrible against the run. Mm-hmm. And this is a game where I think he gets close to 100. So, yeah. So I think we get it. Davenport is killing people out there. He's just it's not showing the statistics. I just watch him throw around offensive linemen like rag dolls. He really does. But the quarterback just gets away or gets rid of it right in front of him. So it's a shame. Payton Turner was injured. He did not play this past week. I don't know. We have to watch to see. He was inactive, in fact. We'll have to see if he practices this past week. Yeah, here we go. Ingram breaks the record of first play from scrimmage, 75-yard TD. That dome would go nuts if that happens.
If I just thought of something. This will be the game that Traquan Smith shows up for us because there's a record to break.
Yeah.
This is true.
You're right. Okay. So, last question for everybody. Since somebody brought up Desean Jackson, I'm going to bring him up again. Desean Jackson got released by the Rams today. Bob, would you sign Desean Jackson to this team?
Nope. The only pause I'd have to that is, and where I just heard today that Michael Thomas might be a couple more weeks out. So now you're looking potentially, Philadelphia or perhaps even Thanksgiving, against Buffalo. If Michael Thomas is not going to be back for the regular through the season, then you have to bring in a guy like a Desean or a bona fide number 1 receiver. But that's a big if. I mean, we still believe that Thomas is going to come back. And I got news for you. Quietly, Deontay Harris and Marquez Callaway are consistently starting to make plays every week. They're never going to they're never going to be a 9 reception, 120 yard, 2 touchdown per game type of receiver like Thomas. But these guys are starting to make plays for their quarterbacks, be it Jameis Winston, Trevor Siemian. So I say you don't mess with that chemistry right now unless you get another injury, knock on wood, or Michael Thomas indeed is not going to come back for this season. I leave everybody else alone.
Sean, I ask you the same question. Desean Jackson, would you bring him in?
Well, my pause is the way that the Rams parted ways with him, that it seems like there would be a little bit of fire involved in that. So, and I can't see bringing a locker room distraction in.
Yep.
Yeah, my problem with Desean Jackson is he's a one-trick pony right now.
Yep.
At his age, he's basically, and Saints Uptown says it, Deontay Harris does a lot what Jackson does. The only difference is Jackson's bigger, but he's older.
And Deontay's a better route runner.
Yeah, Deontay can run many more plays than Desean Jackson can. I think just, if he was the kind of guy that was kind of like more of Emmanuel Sanders. He doesn't mind going over the middle. He does, he can do those dig routes and that kind of stuff. I would consider it. But at this point, I probably am not going to bring a guy like him. Plus, his personality is such that he is much more volatile than what the Saints like in their locker room. He doesn't get the ball, he gets pissed off. Well, if you throw a bad pass to him, he has a tantrum on the sideline. That you don't need that. The Saints don't need that. The Saints just want. They like the Marcus Colston kind of players. They like Michael Thomas too. He's got a little bit of a diva in him, but you rarely see Thomas on the sideline. In fact, I can hardly think of a time where you see Thomas on the sideline screaming at his quarterback or screaming, throwing his helmet down, that kind of stuff because of a mess up or something that didn't work. And that's kind of the personality that the Saints like in their receivers. Now, if Cooper Kupp were available, yeah, I'd make that signing right away.
Oh yeah,
that dude wouldn't be on the street. That dude wouldn't be on the street less than 5 minutes. I'd be on
the phone before he left the Rams locker room.
Yeah, I'd be like the SWAT team coming to run hookers in. I mean, I'm pulling them all in. So, yeah, okay. Braves up 7-0.
Yep.
My Houston friends are not going to be happy about that.
Top of the 7th.
Yeah. So
Freddie Freeman just knocked one out.
So and Bob's got a very good point. I think Bob's getting ready to go smoke a cigarette. Doesn't matter what he's doing. So we're going to get a little bit. Him going to be on the porch. Going to be a little X-Files here. I need my X-Files music. The Smoking Man. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be the kind of game I think that the Saints just. I'm not going to say like the Giants game they dominate because we have questions at quarterback, but I think this is the kind of game that the Saints they really feed off the crowd and just take it to the Falcons. Step on their neck early and get up on them early. It's going to be a physical game. There are going to be plays that Atlanta's going to make, but I think, the Saints will win this one. That's just my feeling. Sean, how do you feel about this game?
I feel exactly the same. That's going to be the job number one. You're going to have to get up early and stay up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
make them play from behind the whole day.
I think regardless of the of who plays quarterback, I think that's what you're going to get. I mean, Taysom Hill beat him twice. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this team's much better than it was in the 2 times Taysom beat him. So, Bob, what's the stuff you're working on right now? I know we probably touched on a lot of it.
Yeah, we did touch on most of it, and my article production is not going to be what it normally is leading up to a game because Lauren and I are flying into New Orleans for the game Friday, and we also had a death in the family, so we're dealing with some of that stuff this week. So I'm going to condense my game previews, but I'm still going to do those. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to have a piece on Trevor Siemian, kind of a closer look at his career. He's a little bit better than what people think he is. Now, don't misunderstand me. He is not anywhere close to an elite quarterback, but he's the kind of guy that can win you more than a few games if the Saints call on him over Taysom Hill. So I have an article looking at Siemian's career in depth a little bit more. And then other than that, whatever pops into my feeble little head when I'm on the plane coming into New Orleans.
And I know you hoping to see people tonight, not tonight, this weekend, because you will be at the game. So, anybody in New Orleans, you see Bob Rose walking around, go grab him. No, I mean, go tell him hi.
Yeah, I don't know if kidnap me. Don't let me get to the airport on Tuesday morning because I'm not going to want to come home.
I don't know if I'm going to be at the game yet or not. We'll see. I didn't go last weekend and I felt bad. My son wanted to go, but I just didn't have a good feeling about the game. I couldn't get a good feeling about the game. I mean, it's playing Tom Brady, and I just don't need to get that pissed off on a Sunday. I mean, if I get pissed off at home, that's one thing. Pissed off in public, that's a lot harder. And it's a shame because that would have been a great. That look, I was just as fired up in this at home watching this as I would have been at the stadium. I mean,
but that's the exact reason why we chose the Atlanta game to come instead of the Tampa Bay game, because I didn't want to be dead or in jail. And if one of my teams lose to Tom Brady and I'm out in public, that's always a possibility.
So what I'm hearing tonight is Drew will be here before Michael Thomas. Got it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And Uptown Saints Uptown is exactly right. I think we do run the ball a hell of a lot better. I think they get a heavy dose of Alvin Kamara. They get a heavy dose of Mark Ingram. It's if Taysom Hill plays, I think you get a lot of Taysom Hill running, especially in the goal line situations. Once they get in the red zone, you're going to see Taysom Hill run the ball a lot. So I think this is the kind of game that we really do well in. This is a game we should win. This is a game we will win. It's just playing in front of the home crowd. It's going to fire them up. They're going to want to play that kind of game. Cam Jordan's going to show up. It's going to be a fun game. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. I hope next week we get to talk more about this kind of stuff because it's fun right now. Because for me, I had no expectations in this season. We've talked about this before. I had very little expectations of this season. I mean, Sean, what were your expectations of the season?
Much like you just said, there was so much uncertainty about so many things. It was hard to be enthusiastic about your expectations.
Yeah, I mean, and Bob, you and I have talked about it. This is not a Super Bowl bust team. This is a team that's in transition that, they had a lot of question marks. We beat the receivers up to death, but I mean, it was, and then here you are at 5-2. You just knocked off the defending world champions. You feel on top of the world. You're going to play the Falcons, your longtime rival. This is a team that you should go kick sand in their faces and steal their girlfriend and take their lunch money. I mean, this is what you do. If you want to be a contending team, this is who you do it to. Your rival,
Yeah, you're exactly right. And as much as Tampa Bay told us where this team could be as a contender, this is the type of game that tells us where this team is mentally as a contender. Because you're right, this is the type of game that they should whip up on a division rival at home coming off of a high. But they need to come out intense and match their rivals' intensity. That's going to be the key.
Speed bump. Yeah. Jake Matthews is a new one, Nick, because I forgot who Cam's got a dozen nicknames for players that he lets slip out every so often. He called that Carolina tackle Speedy McSpeed Bump or something like that. So yeah, that was funny. And he's got some other nicknames he comes up with players. So this is a game I expect Cam Jordan to have a big one too. So but in the meantime, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time under the dome. Good night, everybody.